Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the U.S.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens...
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. It is Tuesday, October the 20th, the year of our Lord 2020, broadcasting live from Capitol Hill. And I want to say a big, huge shout out to the massive new audience we have here watching live. And I want to make sure that everybody is taking active steps. We're about action here in the War Room, and we've got a whole action-packed second hour here. But the things that you guys need to do is, number one, make sure you are subscribed, whether it's on a podcast platform and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all of that. On YouTube, you can go to Steve Bannon's War Room on YouTube, Citizens of the American Republic. Make sure you're subscribed to that, hitting all the share buttons, hitting all the like buttons. There is so much news about to drop. We're going to make so much news in this hour as well. I want to make sure that you're actively sharing it out with as many people as possible. Steve.
Before we turn to the mayor, Justin Taylor, the mayor of Carbondale, and Jack Maxey, whose family's from Carbondale, the key to this thing is Northeast Pennsylvania. You heard Van Jones last night, very worried on CNN. Van Jones, the smarter guys that come in practical politics, understands this is down to ground game. This is down to low propensity voters. And this is down to touches. What the panic is, and this is why you saw the Biden campaign put this out last weekend, is they said, forget Twitter, forget the pundits, forget these polls, because this all comes down to turnout. It all comes down to getting out low propensity voters. And they did this by mail. They caused mass hysteria. They don't know if they've got low propensity voters in the mail-in ballots. Don't know if they're going to have low propensity voters with early voting. They've got to get them out, and they don't have a ground game. You know, Ralph Reed said on Monday, it's like building a 747 while it's in air. This is why Bill Stepien is the campaign manager. That was not a random selection. Bill Stepien ran the ground game for us, the operations of it in 2016. He's fantastic. Alex Eisenstadt's now a buried lead in his story today is Paduchik says, hey, I think we got Ohio. That is massive. That means opportunity cost. You got 14 days to go. You got to pick where you got to go. The president, I hope, starts to camp out with Rudy Giuliani and others around Scranton and Wilkes-Barre up in Northeast Pennsylvania, because Northeast Pennsylvania, I believe, is the key that picks the lock for this campaign. I've said that for the longest time possible. It was central to our victory in 2016. It's where Joe Biden thinks he has a strategic advantage. Here's the problem. He's in hiding now. Why is he in hiding? He does not want to even ask the basic questions about this hard drive. Mainstream media still keeps calling us, keeps calling a lawyer, want to know about the Russians. Hey, I want you guys to do it, because it's all going to be a waste of time. You're not going to get to the heart of the matter. Keep doing it. I love it. And here's the thing we know from Axios. This story's blowing up around you and showing your irrelevance. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, your irrelevance becomes more of a fact. It was irrelevant in 2016. You couldn't stop Trump, then he couldn't stop him in his 4 years. Now you've tried again. You had a fresh slate, all the money. You had 4 years to wait for us. We're now within 2 weeks, and your candidates imploded. Why was that? Because you never asked the hard questions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all everything on this hard drive has kind of been known. Now, to the depths of the depravity, certainly you can't, it boggles the mind, but all these kind of issues were known. But it was the mainstream media that never delved down here. They never put him under pressure. And hey, one of the reasons is AOC, Omar, the Squad, Bernie Sanders, Pocahontas, you never forced them to. There's still no Breitbart on the left. Somebody that can go in and field strip something, right? That's what you need. That's what everybody came to me afterwards. You build a Breitbart on the left, we need that. I go, no, guys, go do it yourself. 4 years later, no guts. And hey, as much as The Intercept, and I love going to these sites, and you got some really good sites, no. They should have been. Why is all of this with Biden coming out with 2 or 3 weeks left? He peaked with 3 weeks. You can see the surge. You can feel the tide come out. Here's the great news of a team like Biden's, because they're not battle-hardened. Like in any war, any battle, it's under pressure that you have to make the decisions, right? What did Aaron Burr used to say? At the moment that counted, Hamilton's hand shook and mine didn't, right? Hamilton's hand shook and mine didn't. How many shaking hands do we have in the Biden campaign right now? Look on Sunday afternoon on Fox. And remember, Sunday afternoon isn't actually the starting squad, right? But you rolled your circuit out with all your talking points completely melted down within a couple of minutes. And you haven't the heat hasn't even been applied. This was kind of the strategy. Put it out, let them lie about it. Put it out, let them lie. Why do you not have tons of Biden surrogates out there, including his vice president, saying, oh, this is a Russian op, these things? Why don't you say, why don't this phrase just cross your lips? These emails are not authentic. These emails are not accurate. These emails don't come from hundreds of members of the Biden team. Why don't you say that? You know why they're not saying that? They know the limb's going to be sawed off. You know why? Because they're smart people. And they go, New York Post, Alexander Hamilton, one of the biggest papers in the country, Rupert Murdoch, senior management team, tons of lawyers, not their first rodeo. No, don't think I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go and spin. I'm going to go spin. I think it's Russian. I think it's some Russian guys.
It's simpler than that. It's not even thinking, Murdoch, New York Post, all the lawyers who have gone over this. It's, hey, someone call Hunter. Can you check if these emails are real? Hello, Hunter. Oh, they are. Oops.
Well, the other thing that everyone has to remember, right? We've got Bevan Cooney coming forward.
Right. We're
probably going to have Devin Archer cutting some deal because he doesn't want to go away to jail, particularly if the president gets reelected. He's not going to get any special treatment, if you know what I mean. Also, we have to remember there's 50,000 emails on there. It's not just Biden family members who are going to be embarrassed and dragged down by this.
Yeah, no.
So the other people who know you're on there, it would be a good idea to start coming forward and clearing your name now.
This is how Fox verified it on Friday. They had the email and called a guy. The guy goes, yeah, that's me. That's an email. That's on my system. That's what it said. And yes, that meant Joe Biden got 10%. That was the deal. Fox reported that, of course, all weekend. Purported. Then the poor Michael Manuel had to come back out and do the unredacted subpoena and the receipt for the Mac store guy. Poor Mac store guy. This is how the mainstream media works too. Don't go send a bevy of people up to Delaware outside their campaign. Instead of shouting, "What flavor's your milkshake?" Be shouting all this. Be shouting questions like you shouted Trump. No, you know what they got to do? They got to go beat up. They got to go beat up the little guy, the store owner. You got to send people down, Daily Beast, all these guys got to get down there and some kind of swarm to try to crush the guy, right? The little guy. You're not. Biden's out there, and note this: for the first time in the campaign, he's out there with his granddaughter. Let me write that down. Sunday out with granddaughter getting milkshake. There's no conspiracy, but there are no coincidences. Okay, write that down and put that in your diary. When things happen, stuff comes out, clarity. You'll see what the panic is inside the Biden campaign. They're panicked, okay? That's why they have him. They put a lid, a permanent lid. Who puts a lid? Mitt Romney didn't come off the campaign trail for 5 days. That's all he did was study prep for the debates, according to Trump, right? That's why he lost. He did nothing but transition and for the debates. Joe Biden's got 47 years of doing this. He's supposedly forgotten more policy than Donald Trump's ever known. How long does it take to study AOC's Green New Deal? How long does it take to study your tax deal? You're just going to hit it with 2 lines. First of all, you get 4 lines into a conversation. You forget what the first and second lines are. So you honestly expect me to believe he's sitting there for 5 days. Look at Stephanie Rule's face. Look at her face. She's sitting there, she's worried. She gets it. Hey, I think he ought to be out. I think there ought to be some touch points, right? Even give me some of what Trump said, the big, beautiful circles. Give me a high school gym with 6 big, beautiful circles. The problem is they're afraid that somebody's going to actually say, hey, about the email, it's not going to be from CBS. He can't just dismiss the guy. Rudy Giuliani came on here in the first hour and told you that that's not financial crimes. There's other criminal activity, and Rudy Giuliani is going forward with that, and I think that he'll bring it out all tomorrow. And, it's going to be a storm, right? That's what we got. The storm clouds are around the Biden camp. The storm clouds are around the Biden camp, a gathering storm. And they are doing a disastrous job. If we had done this in 2016 around Billy Bush, hey, I got an idea. Here's what we're going to do. We're just take Trump and we're just going to wait. We're just going to put him out. Hey, I know we did the hostage video, but then the next day he went down and went outside for his people, right? Then we put him out everywhere. You don't hide Trump. You don't hide. The guy wants to be chief magistrate of the United States. The guy wants to be commander in chief. The guy wants to be president of the most powerful nation in the history of the earth. Joe Biden, you got to be able to take a couple. What you should do today is say, hey, I'm taking the lid off. I'm having a press conference, right? I'm having a press conference. And I'm going to stand up a mic, and I'm going to do like Trump does. I'm going to take any and all. I'm going to have the national pulse down in the front line. I'm going to take it. In fact, zoom it in. We're not going to invite Tubin. That's a cheap shot.
Tube out.
We're not going to invite Tubin. He's on injured reserve right now. But no, don't do a Zoom. That's CCP. Do Skype.
One thing that also people have to remember, okay, we can define plenty of criminal activity in here, but whenever you see criminal activity and whenever you see immoral behavior, and we've talked about this a lot, this really is a fight between light and darkness. I think that the American people are going to be shocked by just how evil some of this stuff is.
It's going to be shocked.
It's literally going to be darkness.
1/3 of people that show up to Trump rallies are not registered to vote Democratic Party and Biden campaign. They're registered now. Look at these registrations. Van Jones had the long face last night. Van Jones is a practical guy. He's sitting there. He gets it. Other practical people get it. I want to now bring in the key that picks the lock. I've been beating this drum for a long time. Northeast Pennsylvania. Because I knew it was one of the keys that picked the lock in 2016. We didn't win Scranton, but I think we won everything around there, right? Couldn't offset Scranton. Target now is to win Scranton. Here's why. Working class, I come from a blue-collar, working-class Democratic family, right? They're culturally extraordinarily conservative, right? Although they're union and they've got very liberal financial policies and ideas about government. They're big government guys, but they're culturally extremely conservative. And they don't like people that are outside the norms, right? Particularly in voting for high office. That's why Joe Biden and this facade he's had on that the mainstream media should have stripped away years ago, Hunter being the key that picked the lock. You just had to delve down into it and not look at it as a guy with a drug problem. It's systemic. It's much bigger. And it speaks to much larger issues, as Jack Maxey will get to later, about fairness, about protection, about who elites get one set of deals and working class people, whether you're black, Hispanic, or white, get another set of deals. Jack, I want you to tell me about Carbondale quickly. I'm going to bring in the mayor, Justin Taylor, who's a Democratic mayor.
I'm actually pretty excited to have Justin Taylor here because my whole family's from up in Carbondale. It tells you a little bit about how the world has changed. Carbondale was named for the coal mining that brought my family there from Wales. The Maxies and the Walkers who came over from Galway, all Forest City, Carbondale, Uniondale. That's my home stomping ground. So I have a great fondness for it. And also, it's the heart of America. So, Mayor, welcome to our show.
Yeah, Mayor, we got about a minute in this segment. We'll hold you to the next. But tell us about Carbondale.
Sure. I mean, thanks for having me. I appreciate us having the opportunity to talk about the city. We're the fourth oldest city in the Commonwealth, and we started basically, as you said, with working class people, immigrants mostly, that came here to unearth anthracite coal and then ultimately ship it around the country to fuel the Industrial Revolution. So we have a very strong industrial manufacturing and working class background.
I tell you what, Mayor, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to ask you about modern politics and what's happening up in Northeast Pennsylvania, particularly around Carbondale, as a populist nationalist Donald Trump versus a neoliberal neocon like Joe Biden run for the presidency and try to convince the people in Northeast Pennsylvania who to vote for. We also got more breaking news. Matthew Tierman's going to be on. The whistleblower movement is getting shut down by Twitter. We also have some other tee-ups for Mayor Giuliani's, what Mayor Giuliani is going to bring forward tomorrow, which is going to both shock, I think it's going to shock and disgust people. So it's a lot going on. We'll take a short commercial break. Thank all the new viewers and listeners. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a review, too. Want to hear what you say. Get into the chat rooms. Tell us what you think. We love the negative. More negative, the better. Be back in a moment.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Feel like you live a lot of your life online? The average person is connected almost 7 hours a day. And all that shopping, banking, browsing, and sharing could mean exposing your personal information. In fact, 64% of adults admit to risking online privacy for convenience. Is it any wonder that 26% of people had malware on one of their devices? Or that there's a victim of identity theft every 3 seconds? Your digital life may be in lots of places, but there's one place to help keep it safe. Norton 360 with LifeLock. With security to help block hackers from your devices, a VPN to help keep your online activity private, and LifeLock identity theft protection. Now, you can get up to 25% off your first year of Norton 360 with LifeLock with promo code TV offer. Call to start your membership or visit lifelock.com/TV offer.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
This is going to come down to North Carolina, holding North Carolina and Arizona, obviously in Florida, hearing good news. And then it's going to come down to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Okay. And now we have the mayor of Carbondale, a Democrat, on the line, Justin Taylor. Justin, talk to us about modern politics. Joe Biden selected because he's Joe from Scranton. He comes up in Northeast Pennsylvania about 6 weeks ago and gives his one populist economic nationalist speech in which he basically throws out everything he stood for 47 years. All the global trade deals, NAFTA, all this, and now he's going to be tough on China. He's going to stand up. He's bringing jobs back, just on and on with more mindlessness. And the campaign's not even smart enough to wash, rinse, repeat. They think, oh, okay, we checked that. We had the populist speech, right? We did that. No, he does not even wash, rinse, repeat. As you see this campaign today, sir, being a mayor of a city in Northeast Pennsylvania, how do you see the two messages of the two campaigns? How do you differentiate them?
Well, Steve, I mean, it's a really interesting campaign so far. And, everybody that I talked to who said to me, are you going to vote for Joe Biden because he's from northeastern Pennsylvania? We get into a conversation of what really has he done for northeastern Pennsylvania? What has he done specifically for Scranton? The history there, I think, is it's somewhat insulting to say that he's the the native son of this area when he's been gone for so long, and again has really not implemented any practices or initiatives that would have helped the industrial nature of Scranton and Lackawanna County and northeastern Pennsylvania as a whole the entire time that he's been in elected office.
So what is he trying to sell up there? I mean, when he's coming up there, he gives this populist speech. The whole media, the whole mainstream media flock into Scranton for one time, and it's to follow this speech. And man, they come out, wow, this was so working class. He's the candidate because he's reaching out to, he can connect to working class voters. Is that real? Because when you look at the speech, I just sat there and read. Look, I'm a populist and nationalist. That's why I was a Trump guy, and not with one of these standard stock Republicans. I believe in the American system of Henry Clay and Abraham Lincoln. I'm all in, right? That's what built the greatest industrial power on earth. Libertarians on earth. Henry Clay, Abraham Lincoln, right? The American system. And I'm a huge advocate. That's what built Northeast Pennsylvania. That's what built Pennsylvania to one of the powerhouses on earth. Not just mining the coal, the factories, making the steel.
Well, anthracite coal was what gave us our steel industry that won 2 world wars and cast all those cannons that beat the South, beat the Democratic Party in the last go-around.
Freed more people than any nation in the history of the earth. In fact, if you added up every other nation on earth, did not free as many people in World War I, World War II, the Cold War, the Civil War. Pick them. Freed more people than all the other nations on earth combined. You know where that came from? Hard-working Welshmen and dumb Micks up in Northeast Pennsylvania. So what's the pitch that Joe Biden has when you got to? Because you people, I've been up there. I spoke at the Right to Life breakfast. I love the folks up there. They're all like the Bannon family, right? Not just hardcore, hardworking folks, right? But when Biden comes up there, because these people are practical and you can't BS them. How does Biden come across?
Yeah, I mean, Steve, that's exactly right. I mean, for northeastern Pennsylvania, it's God, family, country, and work. I don't see any of that really from Biden. I don't see that really from the Democratic Party anymore. They're the party of, every other alternative opinion, and longer the party of the working class, and not only that are they absorbing and running with all of these different attitudes and opinions and initiatives. They're really the party of forcing it down someone's throat. They're willing to say that your opinion has to change and you need to subscribe to these other opinions, and I think that's where everybody really is turning away. I said this. I had a conversation with somebody the other day. I said this to him, like, when does it end? And when does it get back to some sense of normalcy as far as like just normal working class, lifestyle? Where's that candidate? Where's that person who's there to help, everybody and not make them have to choose what side they're on? If you have a differing opinion, all of a sudden, the Democrats that I'm friends with, say, oh, you're a racist, or you're a bigot, or you're a homophobe. They're segregating and separating their own individual party by forcing these things on them.
Now, your party affiliation, you were a Democrat, are you still a Democrat?
I've been a Democrat my whole life. I'm still a Democrat today. I've again said this before. My grandfather sat me down at 18 and said, you're going to be a Democrat because the Democrats are for the working people. I have a little boy. He's going to be 2 in a couple months. And I can't at this point, sit him down in a couple of years and say, you're going to be a Democrat because they're for the working people. I can't have that same conversation with him because it's just not the case anymore. And that's why there's people like me that, we're in a really tough situation. We're ultimately, feel like we've been abandoned by the party. And there's more and more of us. I started to follow some different groups, and this is nationwide. Pennsylvania alone has over 200,000 new Republicans. I mean, that's astronomical. Carbondale alone, a city of less than 10,000 people, and a few years ago only had about 7,000 registered voters, had over 700 new Republicans. And whether they're new or party switches, I'm not 100% sure, but that's 10% of the voters that are now Republicans where they were either unregistered or Democrats before. That's mind-blowing. And again, a city who was strongly Democratic, 4-1 at one point, 50 years ago.
Mayor, what do you think about the impact of Donald Trump's very strong pro-life position up there in northeastern Pennsylvania? I mean, I come from that area. We're all Catholics up there. Do you think that has an impact on the traditional Democratic voters?
You know what? I think it's starting to, because I've always actually been very surprised at the amount of like diehard Democrats who are also diehard Catholics that would be able to support, a Democrat who was, not only pro-choice but pro-abortion. Those were in complete conflict. I mean, the greatest advocate for our area for so many years was Governor Casey, so many years ago, because he was a pro-life Democrat, and that was the candidate of Scranton. Not the Joe Biden of today.
Real quickly, the next 2 weeks, the whole world's going to be focused on Northeast Pennsylvania, what you guys think, what you guys do, and particularly how you guys vote. As you see this playing over the next 2 weeks, how do you see things playing out right now?
I honestly don't see. I see a huge turnout. I see a huge victory, huge numbers for Trump, and I honestly see that across the Commonwealth. I see that across the nation. Everybody has just, really, there's two classes of people right now. There's people who are supporters of the message of Donald Trump, the idea of being pro-America and pro-country, and then the other side of it is just anti-Donald Trump and Donald Trump haters, and for no other reason than they hate Donald Trump. They're not supporting the Biden message. They're not supporting but and that's sad. But I really think that the people who want to see our country thrive again and be positive about our country, those are the ones that are going to make the huge difference and again make this a huge victory. I think the president.
Justin Taylor, the Democratic mayor of Carbondale, Pennsylvania, in northeast Pennsylvania, the heart of God's country. It is going to come down. This is one of the most significant parts of this country where the entire world is going to be focused. We thank you, and God bless, because you're about to take a lot of incoming. Trust me, you're a brave man.
Thank you, Mayor.
Have a great day. So much. Appreciate it.
My grandfather didn't sit me down because it wasn't even. I see what Justin's saying, but it was inconceivable that a Bannon could ever vote for a Republican. No need to sit you down.
You're a Catholic living in Virginia, man.
You're working class Catholic. You're blue-collar union. My dad and grandfather was some of the first guys in the Communication Workers of America, as my dad said, before it became a Maoist operation. But no, it's not even conceivable the working class Democrats would ever conceive of voting for the supporter of the elitists, which were the Republicans.
I've got to go back and defend some of my family history here because it's pretty great. George Maxey, go check him out, Republican Supreme Court Justice of Pennsylvania. And just look up George Maxey and KKK, and you'll see where I come from. This guy beat them down on the City Hall steps in Scranton. So my family's been fighting the evil of the Democratic Party for a century or more.
Wow, great
stuff.
I
just typed in Maxey KKK, and the first thing that came up was F.E. Maxey was the primary organizer of the Richmond area Klan.
No,
not that one.
No. Different Maxey.
Different Maxey.
Oh, also, here's another great story. Molly Maguires, right? There's two sides of the Maxey family.
Yeah.
Half of them joined the Molly Maguires to break some heads and had to leave the state of Pennsylvania and live out in Montana. So for my Montana cousins, big shout out from the
Molly Maguires would be the radical coal miners, Irish coal miners. That started
and you know what?
Essentially,
those guys,
a terrorist organization.
The Maxies in Montana own a family mine that they've had apparently for 100 years or more.
Brian Kennedy.
Pretty awesome.
Brian Kennedy told me he was out in Newport Beach at the fundraiser for Trump. A third of the audience were war room pandemic. But their consensus was the star of the show was Jack Maxey. They go, we love Bannon, but Jack's always saying what I'm thinking. Right?
Somebody called him the conscience of the war room in the live chat earlier.
Wow. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to get to Matthew Tierman. Got breaking news. Matthew, you know him as the geopolitical analyst that comes in and talks about Eastern Europe and populist movements there, but he's an investigative journalist. He's breaking the 26,000 emails. Also, a member of the whistleblower movement, Chinese, they're being shut down. Jack Dorsey shutting down the whistleblower movement on Twitter. Why? They're not with the program.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
Hey, America, get ready. It's finally here. Download the Real America's Voice app now. The Real America's Voice latest Roku app gives you free, exclusive content, including your favorite shows, both live and on demand, along with today's top stories. Don't just watch. Download now and make a difference. Text APP to 888-111 to download the Real America's Voice app.
My son needs this drug. I hope it doesn't cost too much. I hope my insurance pays for it. Can you tell me how much this will be?
67.
Sorry.
Wait, have you heard about GoodRx? GoodRx finds free coupons to help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions.
Wow. I had no idea.
GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
How do we get Maxi merch on here? I guess he's
the only one I've made.
He's the conscience of the.
And it says life is a dangerous business.
I want to get back to so we got Matthew Tierman coming on here momentarily. We're going to have the whistleblower movement after that about social media shutting down. Remember, Mayor Giuliani is on here first. Tomorrow on Maria Bartiromo, he's going to be putting forward evidence of non-financial criminal activity coming off the hard drive from hell. And I think people are going to be pretty shocked, disgusted, revolted by what's to come with Mayor Giuliani and an outside group of people he this information worked through that are professionals in this area. So the Bidens, it's time to come forward, I think, and just be truthful. I think it's time to come forward and discuss your involvement with the Chinese Communist Party, with all the money you've taken from all the people. James Biden ought to come forward. Hunter Biden ought to come forward. All of this ought to come forward, and then the depth of all this other stuff. You got to come forward. You got to be straightforward in this. American people need. This is really a referendum on you now. It's a referendum on Joe Biden, right? It's a referendum on Joe Biden and his character. not just the dimension, everything like that. Let's leave that aside. His character, and you'll see he's a man without character. His family are people without character, and that's all going to be up in living color. I want to go to Matthew Tierman now. Matthew, investigative journalist, you've done an amazing job here. You've actually got a guy to flip, sign an affidavit, and turn over 26,000 emails. Tell us who this person is, why are these emails important, and what are they showing us?
Sure. So Devin Archer ran a entire sort of cabal of partners, Jason Galanis, Hunter Biden, Christopher Hines. At one point, Devin Archer was the ringleader. One of the guys that was working with them was a guy named Bevan Cooney. Bevan Cooney is actually in prison right now. He gets out in a few months, and it looks like the sentencing was done to coincide with after the election. We can talk about the judge who sentenced him and who dismissed Devin Archer, who was a law school colleague and classmate of Hunter Biden, whose husband worked on the Mueller report. I think this story needs to get some traction, and I'm going to be working on that. But Bevan Cooney reached out to me through a contact I'd made years ago in Chicago, who's actually in the same facility with him for white-collar infractions. And Bevan and I started talking, and he was emphatic that he wanted to get the stories, not even his story, but these stories out there. I think from my conversations with Bevan, he's a patriot. I think he was rather apolitical, but I think he's probably more right than left. He was a capitalist. He was playing some Wall Street games with these guys. But he had a front row seat to the Hunter Biden and Chris Hines influence peddling factory. And he was pretty disgusted, and he was also pretty angry because he's the fall guy, and they've gotten off scot-free. And with the election, he was absolutely shocked that Biden could make it through the nominating contest, and shocked that this guy who he'd seen up close and personal could end up assuming potentially the position as president and being in the Oval Office. So he was emphatic that he wanted this story, all these stories put out there so the American people could judge with some judiciousness what was going on with these guys.
What's the heart of when you say these stories, what's the center of gravity of these stories?
I mean, there's so much. I've got 26,000 emails. It's about 6 to 7 years worth of activity, dozens of emails a day. These guys, Steve, you were on Wall Street. I was on Wall Street. It's a frenetic pace of deal making. You're working so many deals across so many theaters. And these guys were working in theaters that I call the theaters of the business absurd. China, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan was their sort of like anchor focuses. Like Peter Schweitzer says, our mutual friend, this is like the UN of global corruption with these countries. And China obviously has been one of the headlines. It started with Ukraine and Burisma. That was sort of the original peeling of the onion. But China, on a financial sort of weighted basis, is really the heavy-hitting stuff. And I know you guys want to talk a lot about China. We've got a ton of stories. We're trying to develop them. I do not have carte blanche to just put out his entire email trove on the internet for the masses to peruse. And I don't think that's fair to Bevan because his whole life is in there. But Peter and I and our affiliates are working through the research to get as many stories as we can out there. I was on Laura Ingraham last night talking about the money laundering of a Russian oligarch through J.P. Morgan that they enabled. And in China, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is their cronyism was at the highest level on both sides. We know their connection to the CCP, but they also were working straight with the Obama administration. Max Backus, who was the former senator from Montana, and then he was Obama's ambassador in Beijing, ambassador to China. They were in his office all the time. There are lots of letters to him. They have a go-between, a lawyer that they knew that was a lawyer that he was close to from Montana, that he'd appointed to a lot of different state commissions when he was there. And they go to his office and they organize deals with CCP-connected apparatchiks from state-owned enterprises like Sinopec. Now, you have to remember, Bohai Harvest, they build it. This was, I guess, a more innocent time, speaking somewhat tongue-in-cheek. But they build it as a gateway institution, economic entity that was meant to bridge the divide between CCP and state-owned enterprises and Western investors and Western governance. That, to me, whenever I see them talking about board governance, given what we saw with Burisma, with using guys like the former president of Poland, Alexander Kwasniewski, and what's Hunter on the board, who has no experience in board governance. The guy's, verging on serious criminal activity even then with his military career and the drug habit. So it's such a farce to see them. And I'm looking right now at a draft of a letter that they did end up sending out from September 30th, 2015, that says, "Dear Honorable Ambassador Backus, I'm writing to invite you to a cross-border banquet to celebrate our acquisition of Hennigs Automotive. We consummated the transaction earlier this month in conjunction with their strategic partner, AVIC, for $600 million. I've attached a news article, and then they talk about how they're working with Bank of China, ICBC, and the China Development Bank, Sinopec. I mean, Sinopec is not a clean company. It's a huge vehicle, the same way that Citgo was.
To contextualize this, people and the Bernie Sanders folks and the people up in Northeast Pennsylvania and in Michigan and Ohio, North Carolina, the textile industry, this is how your job. They didn't just walk in one day and it just magically evaporated. This is part of the system. It's the Max Baucuses and the Hunter Bidens and the James Bidens and the Joe Bidens. It's access. It's political power. It's Wall Street. This is how your jobs get shipped over. And this is how the slave labor of China gets monetized. This is part of the. There's no conspiracy. This is part of the system. This is the way the system works. This is the way the party of Davos, of the World Economic Forum. This is how it rolls. And you're seeing this now in living color, these emails. I just have one thing because my head's about to blow up here. Max Baucus is a running dog of the Chinese Communist Party. He's on TV. He's on MSNBC, I think. And you should be ashamed of yourself. You have a running dog and you have not asked for the money he's taking from the Chinese Communist Party, CNN, and MSNBC. You have these running dogs and useful idiots that are monetizing their relationships with the worst dictatorship in the world, and you've got them on TV. It's be like in the 1930s, just had Goebbels and all these guys on nonstop, right? Or guys are their flunkies in London and the United States. So I got to ask you, when you say this Max Baucus, I want to be very precise. Are you saying when he was the ambassador, they were using his offices to make this deal at the embassy, or is this offices he had someplace else afterwards?
Oh, no. I'm going to be very, very clear about this. The evidence that we've looked at in these emails is very, very clear. They have meetings in Max Baucus's office with the imprimatur of the U.S. government endorsing and sanctioning by holding these consummating contract signings in his office. The Bohai deal, $1.5 billion, the famous initial kickoff. That was, according to Bevan Cooney in conversation, in his office. He says there's a photo, and we're still trying to obtain the photo, a glory shot of them signing that sort of epic contract in his office with Baucus president, Hunter president, Devin Archer president, and CCP-connected business guys signing this joint venture. And you say this about the party of Davos. By the way, you have to say it's bipartisan. This was John Huntsman, Terry Branstad, Mitt Romney, the private equity guys who were racing to the bottom in American labor costs. This is the party of Davos, and that's why the populist movement is gaining steam.
What? So we got to jump here, but what else? You because you got Schweitzer, and he's the best of the best. What else are you guys putting out over the next couple of days between now and Election Day, just to pick a random date, right? So that people can get a full flavor, particularly. Thank you. We just got another FCC thing, but that's okay. What's coming out in the next, say week to 10 days? That will be things that people in Northeast Pennsylvania can chew on before they go in and vote.
Peter and his brilliant team are working through some of the deeper China stuff. I don't know if you saw your viewers saw. I was on Ingram last night talking the Russia angle, which I think is really important because Ken Vogel and Maggie Haberman are teed up to write a piece that we all work for Russia, that we're hapless, useless idiots of Russian disinformation. No, dude, we're calling out the crony oligarchs that Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family are working with. We don't work for Russia, so I think it's an important angle. We've got Kazakhstan, which is another Russian satellite and proxy state, very natural resource rich. We've got Devin Archer walking around D.C. with the very corrupt foreign minister of Kazakhstan. We've got more Ukraine and Burisma stuff. So we're racing through this stuff as fast as we can to get this stuff to market so that people know. And we're doing all we can to open eyes and change minds and hearts on an honest, good faith basis.
So where can people see this? Where are these stories going to come up?
Peter's doing stuff with Breitbart. I've done some stuff with Fox and Jack, and I'm doing some stuff with Nat Pulse. I'll have, Raheem have some stories on some of the Russia angles and Kazakhstan angles and Baucus angles very soon. My Twitter, so I started last night because people are complaining that we're doing these stories, but we're not releasing the raw emails. So I actually started last night putting out the emails around the Russia story, and I've got about 15 to 20 more that I'll be putting out today so that people can go to my Twitter at Matthew Tyrmand, TYR. MAND. Let's get my Twitter account higher than Raheem's. Just, cuss. And so they
chance.
Rome.
How could it be higher than
Rome?
Well, how could it be higher than Raheem's when you're the research assistant to Natalie Winters over at National Pulse? Matthew Tierman, the research assistant.
It's like economic velocity of transactions. Raheem is old news. He's slowing growth. The slope is very flat. Some are going vertical. Natalie, myself, that's growth is where it matters.
Okay.
Come at me, baby.
Great. Okay, we got to bounce.
But
Matthew
sure.
Tierman, fabulous work. I know, Raheem. Is that a hostile work environment?
I have a comment about what he was talking
sure.
about that I think is really important for our listeners to understand. This guy, Devin Archer, right? He lives out in Montana, so probably has a
guy from Yale.
Little connection to Baucus out there. But he was Chris Hines' roommate at Yale College, okay? Now, Archer sounds like a pretty crafty guy, right? He gets his dupe, Chris Hines, in there. He pulls in another, puppet, Hunter Biden. And then they use their stepfather, John Kerry, and they use Biden's father, Joe Biden, to get crooked money from our enemies around the world.
Okay, let's make sure this is the way the system works. John Kerry, head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, followed Joe Biden, head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. John Kerry, Secretary of the State. Joe Biden, Vice President of the United States, in charge of the pivot to Asia, China. These are not, they're no conspiracy, but they're no coincidences. Chris Hines, we're beseeching you to come forward. It'll be easier to come forward than to be hunted down, right? And you're going to be tracked down and forced to answer these questions. Chris Hines is the key witness here, I think. I've said for years he's the key that picks a lot. One, he's a fairly classy guy. He wanted out. As soon as he saw what was going on, particularly in China, he said, I'm out of here, guys. And we know he contacted people when we first started making him famous. Hey, these guys got to stop. I didn't do anything. I'm innocent, right? I got out.
Prove it.
Chris Hines, you need to step forward for your country. You need to come clean. Your country, and particularly the Chinese people, need you to come clean.
And Teresa, you deserve better than what you got.
Okay, we're jump back in a second.
So, Frank, you're the big hurt. Why do you need Nugenix?
After 40, a guy loses free testosterone. Even me. I couldn't stay in shape like I used to.
Frank. So does Nugenix really work?
Oh, yeah. My workouts are incredible now. I'm feeling stronger, more energetic, with a lot more drive.
Frank. So, say I knew someone who should try Nugenix. How does he do that?
It's easy. Just send a text to get a complimentary bottle.
Frank's right. Now you can claim a complimentary bottle of award-winning Nugenix by texting BUFF to 42424. Its unique formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate. Text BUFF to 42424 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. That's BUFF to 42424.
This is the kind of card that has America talking. With it, people with Medicare are getting all-in-one coverage for their doctor visits, hospital care, prescription drugs, and more. This kind of insurance, called Medicare Part C, may also cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, fitness programs, vitamins, even healthy meals and rides to the doctor. With this kind of coverage, you do not need a Medicare supplement insurance plan. You will access your benefits through your Medicare Part C plan for one low and oftentimes $0 monthly plan premium. You deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits. Call now for free information that may help you get more coverage for less money. There is no obligation to enroll. Whether for yourself or someone you love, call the number on the screen now. Call now.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price plus free shipping.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, a gathering storm starts to engulf the Biden campaign and the mainstream media, the social media oligarchs, and their handlers can't protect them from it. It's coming. It's coming. It's going to envelop them. It's enveloping them now. Joe Biden has gone into hiding. The witness protection program is not going to be good enough as this story develops, metastasizes. Doesn't develop, metastasizes. Raheem Kassam, you've been all over this from the beginning. What do we got?
Yeah, you want to talk about getting to the signal early on. It was May 21st that we, on the National Pulse, we did the first story, Natalie Winters and I, about Max Baucus and his advice to Chinese Communist Party companies, and then follow-up in July about how much he's appearing on CGTN, that is the Chinese Communist Party's state media apparatus
out of London, those old BBC guys.
So we're gonna re-up a lot of these stories about Max Baucus in addition to the new reporting that we're working on with Matthew Tyrmand.
You've got, what do you have on Torch?
Little breaking news, not really, it's a year old. They asked Bob Torricelli on October 26th what he thought about the Democratic primary, and he had some comments about Joe Biden being the nominee. He said, quote, "The problem Democrats are facing in this race is that if Joe Biden is the nominee, Hunter Biden becomes Hillary Clinton's emails." So you're telling me that the leadership of the Democratic Party did not know what was going on? Heck yes, they knew what was going on.
Torch is a street smart guy. He understood it. And the hard drive, he knew the hard drive from hell was out there, right? Multiple hard drives from hell. Okay, we've got massive reporting. Going to be more breaking news tomorrow. Mayor Giuliani is going to be on. Maria Bartiromo early in the morning. We're going to have Mayor Giuliani back on here. Bernie Carrick, one of Mayor Giuliani's wingmen, will be here as a co-host. Our first anniversary show. We're going to have 2 days because tomorrow's the first anniversary of our test. Thursday's the first anniversary of the live show that came live on the John Fredericks Radio Network. I now want to go to Castle. The whistleblower movement. We talk about blood money the Bidens are taking. Well, what they're taking it for is Lao Beijing, old 100 names, the Chinese people, the decent, hardworking deplorables of China. Now they formed a group to out the Chinese Communist Party and the people supporting the Chinese Communist Party. We have Castle, and that's Nam de Gur, I guess it is, Nam de Gur, because her family will be rolled up. But what are the social media titans doing? Guess what? They're taking down the whistleblower movement even as we speak. Castle, can you tell our global audience what is going on?
Hello there. Hello, Mr. Bannon. This is Castle. And I'm here because I want to speak out what Twitter has done to the whistleblower movement. Just within 24 hours, Twitter has been taking down a lot of massive whistleblower movement Twitter accounts, and in which of them we have a whistleblower about the Wuhan P4 labs. We have been exposing about the Dr. Yan's report. We have been talking about the corrupt families in the United States, and that's why the Twitter is afraid of the truth, and they shut us down, shut a lot of us down. Mr. Bannon?
I noticed, Castle, this really picked up, and the shutdowns really came when you started sharing New York Post stories, all the stories in the United States from news sources. When the whistleblower movement started sharing this among Chinese, all of a sudden you got shut down. Do you think it's any correlation between passing information on about the Biden situation and being shut down?
I think there is. Yes, I think there is. There's a lot of reasons that Twitter shut down our accounts, but in this such large scale of shutting down our accounts is not normal. We still remember the last time that Twitter shut a lot of us down. It was 31st May of 2019. There were at least 20,000 Twitter suspended without any reason, which including my own, just only because the CCP wanted to cover up what they had planned to do to Hong Kong. later on June. And we called that May 31st, the hashtag Twitter massacre, which all of those hashtags are censored, disappeared now. But the real massacre happened next in real world in Hong Kong. And back to today, nowadays, that after banned, suspended, censored so many Twitter accounts just today, what happens tomorrow? I can only hope that it won't be worse than CCP did in Hong Kong yesterday. Mr. Bennett?
Last question, Castle. I know one of the things we talk about all the time is the firewall that American technology working with the CCP has to keep the truth from getting to mainland China. Do you believe today that you see out in the West was supposed to be the First Amendment and freedom of speech? Do you see a firewall being created between Twitter, Facebook, Google, these other oligarchs in Silicon Valley to suppress the free speech of men and women like yourself?
Yes, exactly. What Twitter is doing today is essentially the exact same way how the Ministry of Truth worked out, like the novel 1984 by George Orwell. And who is going to check your Twitter followers? Who is going to check your Twitter published months ago? People don't do so, but Twitter just shadow censors them in an discovered way that you never know. So, well, Twitter is just good at shadow censoring, and they made it all unknowingly that even sometimes I don't even know myself. Maybe did my memory goes wrong? And this is everything taking place right now. That Twitter thinks that taking down all the our accounts, all the tweets, that things would pretend to be never happened. Mm-hmm.
Castle, thank you very much. We're going to put your Twitter handle up. It's tremendous bravery. We really appreciate everybody in the whistleblower movement. We have your back. We're going to make sure this story goes viral. So thank you very much for joining us today. You're a hero and a patriot.
Appreciate
These people want to talk about. You want to talk about heroism? You want to talk about bravery? You want to talk about freedom? What is that, Jack?
No, I just wanted to reiterate that 1986 Drug Abuse Act. I think for the American people, we got a minute left.
Yeah.
I think everybody, particularly Black Americans, you got to remember that it was Joe Biden who wrote this, the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986. He pushed it through. He claimed that crack cocaine made people more violent. You've heard all the comments that he's made. What this did was it put 100-to-1 difference between the prosecution for somebody with crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. For 5 grams, you got 5 years in federal prison, mandatory. This destroyed for 2 decades the black community in America. This kept black men from participating in the upside of the 90s and the first half of the 2000s. Joe Biden is 100% responsible for that.
And his kids, well, we'll get into that the days ahead. Yes, sir.
Interestingly, 3 p.m., Paul Gosar, Congressman Gosar, on the show today talking about his fight against big tech and the censorship.
National Pulse, 3 o'clock on Real America Voice. We'll be back tomorrow. Bernie Carrick, 10 a.m. We'll be talking about we'll have Mayor Giuliani on, also about his revelations tomorrow, 10 a.m.